Devlin, Untamed.
Welcome to the podcast, people. Martin Devlin, Lachlan Wall. It's Only Sport. iOS is the name of our show, the only true independent daily sports radio program in this country. Today, she's all about origin, state against state, mate against mate. It used to be blokes a crate and ladies a plate, so it is 2024. How about asexual? You bring a crate and the non-binary, yeah, it'd be lovely if you could provide a plate. Game 3, the decider, and we were all over it. Like Billy Slater was the fake news fight with Selwyn Cobbo story. Joel Gould out of AAP, Brisbane, and then Brad Walter, south of the border. He works for NRL.com out of Sydney. Both of those blokes, plus Joey Johns, who we spoke to in the Rugby League out on Monday. Recycle some of that audio for you too. ATM episode 92, Mark Watson joined us talking about the All Blacks. This ACC thing that Stuff wrote an article about, getting all offended at some comments made by James McConey and the crew when they were commentating that All Blacks England test. Watto all over that. Plus, celebrating a couple of women achieving fantastic things in New Zealand sport that none of the mass media, the mainstream lot, seem to want to cover. Miles Davis, blah, 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 blah. Gareth Southgate stepping down as England coach. Absolutely loving that. We played What Is More Chance of Happening to the Tight Five, all of those things, and began the show the same way every single day, which is tablets in hand. I say, gather my flock. It is time for a sermon. It's origin. Let's go to the mountaintop.
We live in an amazing, amazing world, and it's wasted on the crappiest generation of just spoiled idiots.
It's state against state and mate against mate. And tonight's Origin 3 might just be one of the best games of sport you'll see all year. Let's hope so, because the occasion is perfectly set up for it. A decider at Lang Park, Brisbane. Queensland playing the little brother downtrodden underdog card all week again because they can. Coach Billy Slater accusing mainly the New South Wales media of fake news regarding these stories about a rift between him and Selwyn Cobbo. Who knows whether there is or isn't, and who even knows if there was, whether it would make a jot of difference. But this is what they do. Queensland love a good siege mentality. They thrive on siege mentality. Their whole shtick is and always has been and always will be us against the world, and especially us against those flash, Harry, have everything, all the advantages, rich bully boys from south of the border, New South Wales. Look, it's all garbage. None of it actually exists anymore. Way back in 1980 when the series started, they had every reason to feel that way, but not anymore. This is 2024. These are highly paid, super fit, well-trained, battle-hardened individuals on both sides who both don't need nor buy into all the marketing hype and all of this claptrap. That's all designed for us, to get the audience, us, all wound up. Look, I hope it's a great game tonight. And by great, I mean close. That it's not a blowout like both Game 1 and Game 2 were. That we have a real contest, and with 10 minutes to go, it could still go either way. Then, and maybe only then, we might just get one of the year's best watched games of all sport. Because, to be honest, the first two weren't because of the nature of the blowouts. 10 p.m. tonight, people, the decider, everything to play for. And again, I just hope that the game and the occasion live up to the hype and the expectation.
Devlin.
What do you want? We want information. Information. You won't get it.
The platform.
We go the bob each way. That's one from Queensland, one from New South Wales. Joel Gould, AAP. North of the border, Brad Walter, NRL.com, south of the border. We talked to both blokes before Miles joins us around about 22. Headlines, Lachlan. What do we got?
It's a bit of a quiet day in the world of sport, but that makes sense because it is a Wednesday. Tributes continuing to flow in for former All Blacks hooker Norm Hewitt, who yesterday, it was announced, has passed away at the age of 55.
May I say that Michael Lawes' interview was really beautiful, I thought. I thought his words just, really kind, really thoughtful, and really personal.
In terms of things more present and on field, tonight, of course, as Martin said there, Game 3 of State of Origin in Brisbane. The decider kicking off at 10 p.m. New Zealand time. You would have to say the advantage goes the Queenslanders' way. The last time, Martin, that there was a decider in Brisbane was when? Very recently.
Oh, you know, a couple of years ago.
2 years ago.
It wasn't Dozer. Go Dozer. Oh, we'll play you that audio shortly. Okay, yeah.
And then the last time that New South Wales won a decider in Brisbane, 2005.
Was it?
Yep.
Last time they came back.
32-10 was the score.
I remember, I don't remember, but I do know that the last time they came back from a game down and won a game 3 was 30 years ago, 1994. I love all these stats. I love these stats. I love the figures. Right. I love the facts. Because, again, it's just all designed to get us hyped up, amped up, and worked up before this game tonight. And the other thing is, we got to stay up because it's at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, I know.
I might have to have snoozy bye-byes beforehand. What's wrong?
Well, if I tell you what, if it's a blowout again at halftime, the way it was in games 1 and 2, I'm going to bed. Sorry, I'm going to bed. Sticking with league, the Warriors team to play the Raiders in Canberra on Friday night has been named. More shuffling around for the Warriors because there's more injuries. Chance Cook-Star has a calf issue. Marcelo Montoya, a groin issue. Tain Tuapiki will start at fullback as a result. Eli Leatoa in the centres. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck on the wing. He's been playing centre for the last 3 games. He moves to the wing. For the Raiders, by the way, no one's really talking about this. They've welcomed back a couple of damn key players, really important players. Hudson Young, Jamal Fogarty, Zach Hosking. They're all back in the 17. It's going to be an uphill battle for the Warriors. After 102 matches at the helm, stretching 8 years, Gareth Southgate has quit as England football manager after the defeat to Spain in Sunday's European Championships final. 2-1 loss that was. Who his success will be remains to be seen. However, England women's football boss Serena Wiegman has apparently been touted as a potential candidate for the job. But she herself has waved away speculation that she could take over from Gareth Southgate. So it's probably not going to happen. I don't think it would happen in the first place anyway. Sticking with football, actually, by the way, the team of the tournament was named for the Euros, and a man who was pretty damn... was the main culprit probably for the 2 goals, Kyle Walker, has been named in that team of the tournament.
He was on the right side with it, but that's where the weakness was, mate.
Exactly. And he also was at fault for a goal that they conceded against Switzerland.
Yes.
Very strange. As was John Stones, by the way, but, Kyle Walker didn't have a great tournament. How's he in the team of the tournament? I'm not too sure. Double headers, a test series against England, the return of the Rose Bowl, and everything on free-to-air TV. Those are the headlines attached to the Kiwi Summer of Cricket that has been announced for both the Black Caps and the White Ferns. For the time being, Martin, that's what's making news.
Devlin.
That is a disgusting act.
The platform.
The decider tonight. As I said to start the show, to start the podcast, I just want it to be a really close game going into the last 10 minutes. So that, that we don't know. And then it could come down to one error. It could come down to one absolute individual bit of brilliance. It's as close as that, isn't it? Because the first game was 38-10, an absolute blowout to Queensland. The second one, 38-18, a reverse blowout to New South Wales. You're about to hear back-to-back 2 blokes, one from each side of the border. Joel Gould, AAP out of Brisbane, and Brad Walter from New South Wales. First and foremost, this thing going on between Billy Slater, the media, and whether or not it's fake news with Selwyn Cobbo and things, is this just a good, healthy distraction that means that Queensland can once again claim the underdog tag because everyone's against us and everyone hates us?
Well, I suppose there's an element of that for sure. It's I don't know I've been watching training the last 10 days. I haven't seen any evidence of any falling out between Billy Slater and the coaching staff and Selwyn Cobbo, so I don't know where it's come from. But look, it's pretty typical sort of thing coming from south of the border, where I think there's been I don't know if it's a campaign, but there certainly seems to be an element of certain individuals trying to get under Billy's skin. I don't think that's really worked. I think the way he handled it is pretty typical of Billy. Look, he looked amazed that this has been even suggested, and I think you can put it down to quite rightly what you just said. There's just the argy-bargy before an Origin decider. There's a lot on the line, and I think Billy, let's face it, he's 2-0, 1-all. I mean, he isn't really under pressure, but I think the way that's been headed, it's all about putting him under pressure, I think, from New South Wales' point of view. That's how I read it.
Yeah, I started the show by saying, mate, I just hope that that the occasion befits the expectation, because, you know, here we are sitting at 1-1, the decider, which is perfectly poised. But at the same time, you know, we've had 2 blowout games, and it's hard to get a read on both of those games, given there was a red card in the first, and Queensland could dump that second game. So, yeah, how do you call this?
Well, that's the unknown, isn't it? Where are these two sides really at? Well, New South Wales played with 12 men and in Origin in the first game, and that for most of the match. And that in Origin, that's like a death sentence, really, isn't it? That second game, I've never seen in all my time covering Origin a more dominant first half performance by an Origin team. So we don't get much of a read on where Queensland, they were shell-shocked there and didn't play well at all. So we haven't got a read on what it's like when the game is on the line and close yet. So we don't know. And that's the element of this, I guess, that it is a decider. I can't imagine Queensland playing anything like they did in the second game. So, and I think New South Wales has a really red-hot side. So back to your point about expectation, will it deliver? I've got a feeling it will. But we'll just have to see how it plays out. I think there is, even amongst, you know, seasoned people who have been watching the game for a long time, a feeling that we don't really know how this game's going to go.
Look, I just hope it's close with 10 minutes to go. I mean, and obviously here in New Zealand, we stay up till midnight to watch this, mate. It's, you know, during the week, it's bloody tough stuff. You know, man for man, you know, and look, all we could do prior to the game is just go through every player and situation and consequence, and none of us know, of course, but man for man, who's the best team out there, 13 plus subs?
Man for man, you'd have to think that New South Wales has probably got just a slight edge, and I say that because the Maroons are without 3 forwards that I think would definitely be in the team and would make a huge difference. So I'm talking about Tino Fa'asuamaleaui, Thomas Flegler and Tom Gilbert. 3 blokes out for the basically for the season. I think they're 3 big losses, and I think that's where New South Wales has the edge, and we saw it in Game 2 when they had the full complement of players, that they dominated in the middle. So I think they're 3 big losses. Obviously, New South Wales doesn't have Nathan Cleary. But I think if you look at it, there's 3 blokes in that Queensland side that would definitely be there. And, of course, Xavier Coates, I think he's a good player. He's obviously injured as well in this game, and so is Murray Taulagi, two wingers. But, I mean, I'm just looking at the 3 forwards. I think that's the big area where Queensland, people in that pack have got to stand up and do what those 3 blokes would do, and that's play with real aggression and get New South Wales on the back foot. So I think New South Wales got the edge. With the likes of Payne Haas and Cameron Murray coming back into the team in Game 2, I just think they've got the edge in the forwards. That's where they have that edge, man to man, if we're coming back to what you said.
Devlin.
You've got to love sport.
The platform.
Well, you've just heard from Joel Gould, AAP out of Brisbane, so let's go the other side of the equation, and it's our good mate Brad Walter from NRL.com. You're a New South Welshman in Queensland at the moment, mate. I tell you, do you tell people that you are?
Proudly so, to be honest. But look, there's a lot of people out and about in Brisbane today wearing their New South Wales jerseys and their Queensland jerseys. It's only 10 a.m. here, but I've noticed, like, walk around the streets and people are already preparing for the game tonight.
Brad, we could sit here and we could try and figure out every which way, but in terms of player versus player, and look, I just think it comes down to emotion, because that's what this is about. You're a man that has been to so many of these. I don't know how many deciders you've been up there, though. Just what is your heart telling you, mate?
My heart's telling me that Queensland are right where they want to be. They're underdogs. I think we look at their team across the board on paper, and we think New South Wales has got a better team. New South Wales totally dominated them in Game 2, and if you think, well, if they can do if they play that way again, Queensland won't have a hope. I also think that if New South Wales had 13 players on the field in Game 1, they would have won that game the same way. But I also think, and history and experience says, New South Wales has only ever won 2 deciders. at Suncorp Stadium in over 40 years of State of Origin history, and that was in 2005 and 1994. That's a hell of a long time ago. So it's really, really hard to do. And you just, as I said, Queensland, there's an air of siege mentality. Went out to their captain's run yesterday afternoon, and they made the media had to be there half an hour before, and then the team turned up 40 minutes late. So that's 70 minutes of standing around waiting. They basically walked out on the field, and after 2 minutes, they told everyone to leave. So you're able to get a photo, but it was just a player standing around, and it just feels like they've got this. They don't care about the media. They don't care about the publicity. They don't care about what the New South Wales team or what's going on there with them. It's all about Queensland. It's, as I said, it's siege mentality. Billy Slater had a press conference yesterday. He seemed particularly defensive at that press conference as well. So yeah, I just reckon it's a real backs against the wall Queensland mentality. I also saw while we were waiting around, they were playing some of the videos are going to be on the screen, big screen there tonight, and there was a lot of stuff about where Queenslanders and what all the stuff about the state and the state of Queensland, and not just the footy, but the whole thing about so there's going to be 52,000 people pumped up, as in wanting Queensland to win for the pride of Queensland, and it's going to be a really, really tough ask. It's going to be noisy as hell out there for New South Wales. A lot of these New South Wales players will have never played in an environment like what they're going to confront tonight. They might think they have, but they'll get out there and they'll find out it's going to be really hostile. It's going to be really loud. The game will go quickly, and it could get away from them really quickly as well. So they're going to have to. I think New South Wales is going to have to start well and try and take the crowd out of the game and take out that whole. Here comes Queensland again.
We need to talk.
What is more chance of happening?
We need to talk. Next!
I give you two scenarios. You tell me out of the two what is more chance of happening. New South Wales come from behind to win Origin 3, create history, take the series, or Novak wins one more major in his tennis career. What is more chance of happening?
Novak wins one more major.
Really? You think man for man? Come on. I mean, take out the Lang Park factor, take out the 4X factor.
No. You can't take it out. You can't take it out. That's like saying, I don't know, take out the fact that there's a FIFA World Cup in Brazil and Brazil are in the final. It's a silly thing to say.
Oh, no, I just think in this professional era, none of that counts, mate.
How many times have New South Wales won a decider in Brisbane?
Maybe.
When was the last time it happened? 19 years ago, right?
Apart from that,
I will lean on history and how a game like this has played out in the past. Okay?
What is more chance of happening there? New South Wales upset your personal apple cart, win this game, or Tiger makes the cut at Royal Troon?
Oh, New South Wales win this game. Absolutely.
Since his last, I only read this say. Okay, so he won the Masters in 2019. He also won another PGA tournament that year. Since then, he's only played 9 times, and he's only made the cut 3 times out of that, and that is wherever he has played.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next.
What is more chance of happening than New South Wales do it, or Rory bounces back from disappointment at the US Open, choking on the putt, and he wins his 5th major at the British Open.
When was the last time that Rory McIlroy won a major?
It was only 10 years ago, Lachlan.
And how has he done since then when he's been in contention for major championships?
A little wobbly.
I'm going to lean on New South Wales winning tonight.
And what is more chance of happening than that? New South Wales do win Origin tonight, or your Broncos avoid the try ref. Make the 8.
Adam Reynolds could be coming back this weekend.
See, here we go. I love hope. Hope is the greatest destroyer of faith.
We have lost 6 in a row. We're 7 and 10.
When's the last time you won?
Round, was it 11, 12?
You know it was round
Magic
11.
round.
You know it was magic round.
Magic round. So, look, our backs are against the wall.
Oh,
but if our little general comes back this weekend, our little general, Adam Reynolds, and we've got a fully fit team outside of him with all our Origin boys backing up on the road to a pretty average Newcastle side, if we can take our business there, we're going to go on a roll.
All right, final one then. Since you're now full of confidence and hope, what is more chance happening? The Broncos make the 8 or the Wars make the 8? You don't want to say it, do you? You don't want to say
There's more chance. No. I'm going to say it, and you and the listeners won't like it. There is much more chance the Broncos make the 8 than the Warriors. Much more chance. Stop. Much more chance.
That was like saying England were going to win the Euros.
Much more chance.
Blah, 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 blah. Miles Davis joins us every Wednesday on the program. Big bloated braggart that he is. Provides brilliant, I think absolutely brilliant sports analysis from a really passionate, emotive viewpoint that only a fan can have. I've known the man for 25 years. He is the ultimate fan. Blah, 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 blah. Miles Davis, blah, blah. Darling, are you over it yet or not?
I got a text yesterday saying there's 4 words that trigger Davis. Gareth Southgate, Donald Trump. They forgot David Moyes and Sam
Allardyce. That's right.
I know. I'm absolutely, as you know, mate, I'm rapt that he's finally gone. The one thing, I'll give him credit, was that when he came in, there was a bit of disharmony. He brought a togetherness in that England side in the early years. But it wasn't too long. I mean, it's been at least 4 years now, in my mind, maybe longer, where you can see the quality of players that he's got and the way that he was playing and his fearful, defensive, careful way that he approaches the games. And it was just awful watching. I mean, how England made the final is beyond me. If any team didn't deserve to be there, it was England. There was other sides of play. The Swiss were far more attacking. The Austrians, there were so many more sides that played attacking football. And we had, arguably, I reckon, as man for man, we probably had better players than Spain did. But they had the right manager, the right attitude, and took it to them. They fully deserved to win. And I picked them to win it very early on after seeing a couple of games in the group games. I thought they looked the best side. So good on them, as we say down this part of the world, for doing it. But Southgate, he lost his way. You look at, and he's a real corporate man. And this is the problem with the FA.
Yeah, you've said this before. They don't like the old tell, do they? Bit of this and a bit of that.
They don't like the Brian Cloughs or the old tells. And they go down, the good corporate man occasionally wears a waistcoat. He's a lovely chap, quietly spoken as Gareth. What a love. And he's got a name Gareth, which is a sort of name that we like in this sort of environment, in this environment. But the thing is, though, is like, what did he do? He was average at Middlesbrough. It does. It's like, how do these geezers get the job? I've seen mentioned now as his replacement. One of the options, Frank bleeding Lampard.
Yeah, I mean, I must have. I was gobsmacked at that. I was gobsmacked that they would suggest the England women's coach at the moment. I think she's actually ensconced in her job at the moment. But Frank Lampard, again, great player, no match. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if Steven Gerrard gets mentioned, mate, in this dispatches as well. Can we just say, in Gareth's defence, though, that he took over from Sam Allardyce, who was manager for one game, was doing backhanders and dodgy deals.
100% record, Fat Sam, mate.
Fat Sam, all right.
100% record.
All right. And so what he did was he introduced stability and everything else. But there are plenty of coaches in sports all around the world, and maybe you can accuse Ian Foster of this as well. Can they get the best out of a group of players? And clearly, no, the answer is no. At the same time, mate, I texted you just before you got that equaliser, and I was convinced you were going to draw 1-1 and go to penalties. And if you'd won the tournament, everyone would be saying, oh, well, this is how you actually win a tournament. No one cares how you win a tournament.
No, it's not how you win a tournament. You might be able to scrape it through. Greece, as I've mentioned before, did it in 2004. You win it by playing football. You ever watched Brazil in 1970?
Yeah, but in 2002 they weren't good, mate. They were in 2002. They weren't good, were they? Under Big Phil.
Watch that. I mean, I was there at that quarter final in Shizuoka, mate. England, buddy, had it and then just dropped their bundle.
Yeah,
exactly. There was only one team going to bleed and win it. They had Beckham in there, who was still injured and really shouldn't have been there, and he pulled out of a tackle right in front of me, and I think it's Rivaldo or whatever it was, equalised. All the names.
That was it. Yeah, it was Rivaldo. Yeah.
And then they got that ridiculous bloody Ronaldinho free kick. Well, David Seaman was still putting his hairspray in before it went in the back of the net. But you look at a replacement line. I mean, obviously, I don't really care what you think, but I'll be interested in your thoughts. But it's just politeness that I do it. But if it has to be an Englishman, it's got to be Eddie Howe, not Graham Potter, not just Eddie Howe's the guy I think deserves it. If he wants to leave Newcastle, and why would you want to leave Newcastle at the moment with all that money behind you and they're playing pretty well? The other, if it's knowing the FA though, if they go for a British manager, it'll either be Sean Dyche or David Moyes.
I'd love Moyes. I'd love Moyes just because I'd love to talk to you constantly if David Moyes was the manager, mate.
If I had the power, I would give the job to Klopp. I reckon Klopp would be a fantastic England manager.
You can't have a German. You can't have a Kraut coach in the Poms. Of course you can't, mate. Come on, son. Yeah, well, Italian's a bit different. Come on. Let's talk about Norm Hewitt. Michael Law's a wonderful interview yesterday that he did on TV. He was on the program talking about it. He's a very good friend. I mean, obviously, you know Norm as well, and you loved him as a Wellington captain, as a Hurricanes captain, and just as a giant as he was, the broken arm on the field, that Shield challenge you were at Eden Park when you hugged Leo and everything, that semi-final, remember the NPC in 2000, mate? But he was much more than a rugby player. This is what I like has actually came out. Not a lot of people knew him outside of rugby.
No, I don't think they did. And unfortunately, a lot of people, I mean, they'll know a certain audience will know him from Dancing with the Stars, part of his road to redemption. But a lot of people remember him barging food into the wrong apartment and motel in Queensland.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's not the guy that he was. He may have been that guy then, but it wasn't the guy who was inside, and certainly wasn't the guy who became. And to be perfectly honest, if people can find a way of changing the way that they're behaving and using it to benefit other people, as he certainly did, I think that's great. It's all right to be a saint, like me, from when you're born.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
But if you go and actually change, but if you go and change the way, and do it, which is a difficult thing to do, and accept that you had issues, and really turn it around and use it as a driving force, like he did, I think that's fantastic. And it's a really, 55 years old, Martin.
Too long, too early. Yeah, I know, it's a baby, mate.
And to go to that horrible disease as well with motor neurone, just a really, really sad loss. And I'm sure he'll be mourned in many, many sort of areas of society in New Zealand, not just a rugby one.
To hear the full interview, download the platform at the App Store. Via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to the whole show and all of the interviews in full.
The Tight Five.
5 separate sporting topics, roughly a minute or so on each, maybe 2 minutes on each. And when the bell reminds us, well, we go on to the next topic. We've got to talk about the weather because we've got a couple of texts in about this, calling us both Ponce on Bites, Lachlan, for the fact that we're moaning about how cold it is in Auckland. Southgate has gone. He's resigned. It's no great surprise. We're not English, or you've got English ancestry. I'm a true Celt. I've got Scottish, Welsh, and a lot of Mick in me. So how do you assess him as England coach over the last few years? All Blacks versus Fiji in San Diego. I'm struggling to get excited about this. Aaron Ratliff is number 1 in world doubles. I think that's well worth celebrating. Origin tonight, who you got? Warriors got some real injury problems going to Canberra. I don't like this at all. And also, the Summer of Cricket has been announced by New Zealand Cricket. There's 1 or 2 highlights, but there's just 1 or 2 ho-hums in there as well for the Black Caps. Let's kick it, though, talking about Southgate. He's gone, he's resigned. Look, I'm not English, and so I don't have skin in the game. I've never been a fan of the English football team. I'll never be a fan of the English football team. I don't care about the English football team. But I actually think if you were a fan of any international side, and this is the problem when you're born in New Zealand and you're an all-white supporter, we just don't get to play at these tournaments. We're never going to play in the European one. Of course, that doesn't need explaining. But as far as the World Cup goes, well, come the next one, because FIFA have invited every single country on the planet to it, we do get to go. We've only got to go through Oceania. But when we qualified in 82, I thought it'd be the only time in my lifetime. We did it in 2010. I thought, wow, we've done it twice. So we overachieved just by getting to the bloody tournament. If you're an English fan, how do you assess Gareth Southgate's tenure?
I think you and Miles described it relatively well. Well, Miles described it. You followed on from him. where he said that he brought stability after a period of instability, particularly with that. How long was Sam Allardyce in the role? It was a matter of months, wasn't it?
One game.
Yeah, but it was a matter of months, and then obviously that videotape of him saying he knows how to cheat the system came out, and
he was basically going to. He was giving himself away for speaking engagements and things like that, earning backhanders off the job. Was what he was doing.
So tumultuous, and then there was 4 years prior to that of Roy Hodgson in charge, where he just looked like a ghost. He just didn't know what he was doing. He was walking around the whole time, like it's like that kid that. Like a young girl, when you snatch a toy off her, she just kind of stands there and goes, "Oh,
yeah, it's gone." That's right, yeah.
That's Roy Hodgson. Anyway, look, it's been successful in the sense that it has. Look, you look at this, the finishes for the England team the last 4 major tournaments. Okay, 4th place in a semi-finals berth at the 2018 World Cup, the Euros in 2020, 2021, they make the final. And go and lose on penalties. Then the World Cup, they lose to a really good French side in the quarterfinals, who went on to the final and could well have ended up winning it on penalties, but they didn't. And then this one, they get to the final again. Now, a couple of those tournaments have had easy runs, but you can't really control what's in front of you. That's not your fault. That's just the nature of the draw. So how it looks now, how it will be looked at in 20, 30, 40 years' time, the way that we look at World Cups of the 60s, 70s and 80s is that England, at 4 straight major tournaments under Gareth Southgate, achieved plenty, given they achieved virtually nothing for the previous 20 to 30 years. So in that sense, he's done a great job. But clearly, in terms of the style they play, which is contentious, but also the fact that they haven't gotten over the line with so much talent at their disposal, maybe he has laid the foundation and a more tactically astute coach needs to turn up and take them to another level. And there are actually a lot of good options out there. And I'm a fan, I guess, of England football. I'm not a fan really of the All Whites, never have been. I'm more a fan of them. You want to see a better manager take over and take them to another level, because clearly against Spain it was proof that they are a step behind these best teams in Europe.
All Blacks versus Fiji, San Diego. Now, I just got to be honest about this. Apart from the interest around the debutants, there might be 3 or 4 of those. What real interest really is there in this fixture? We know it's going to be 50 points. Now, if this game was being played in the islands, even though they had months to organise it and time frame constraints, and honestly in that space, I'm going to hire another couple of pathway managers to actually look at that, because I think it's time we called another review. If this game was being played in Fiji where it should be played, there'd be 1,000 different angles, stories, narratives, and I'd be way excited about it. But the All Blacks playing Fiji in San Diego, I'm so glad that the English press, when they arrived here, called that test against Wales a glorified training run. They won it by 50 points. That's what this is. It's a glorified training run. I cannot get excited about this game one iota. Apart from, as I said, maybe 1 or 2 debutants, and I always love it when a newbie plays for the All Blacks. Apart from that, Lachlan.
Well, I would get excited for it if it was in Fiji.
Same.
I'd get kind of excited if it was at a small New Zealand town, like if you took the game to, I don't know, Nelson, for example.
Or New Plymouth, or
somewhere
that
like that,
or
get test
Gisborne.
rugby.
Why not in Gisborne and give them something to laugh and shout about?
Or do they have a stadium in Gisborne?
Oh, who knows?
It's impossible to get there as well.
Okay, apart from that.
So, I was actually out at a dinner last night. It was my father's birthday, and we had some family friends, and someone, they brought it. Just, why are we in San Diego? It feels like a marketing gimmick.
It is a marketing
exactly
gimmick.
That. It's exactly that. So, which is a shame.
You're being negative.
And there was,
I support the boys. I do support the boys. I think this is just an administrative load of pony is what it is.
Yeah, I can't really get excited about it. I can get excited by the fact that we'll hopefully see a ton of debutants. I can get excited for the fact that a B or C team for us should give Fiji a good challenge. I'm excited for the fact that they're getting a test match against us.
And hopefully get some cash.
Well, yeah. And we need to get more involved with the Pacific Island teams because we still that,
don't we? But when it comes to an absolutely gimme where we could have played it over there, what do?
Yeah, but we had someone. Who was it we had on the show who pretty much said...
there's always every excuse.
Yeah, I know. I'm
saying... they play Super Rugby
I'm the same as you. I know, I'm the same as you. So
it would have been easy to
organise.
But
at least we're not totally disregarding them and not playing them.
Aaron Ratliff, #1 in world doubles. I like this. Do you like this?
Oh, yeah.
Look,
certainly.
Finalist at Wimbledon, won the US Open last year. You add that to Michael Venus. I celebrate this because these players wouldn't be in the top 500 if they were playing singles, or maybe they'd be battling and scratching and might get to 480 or 90, earning absolutely no money. This, I reckon, is a brilliant decision from both Aaron, for Michael Venus as well, where Play doubles. Earn cash. Get on centre court. Get a bloody Grand Slam trophy. Retire with money in the bank, and you've had a great career. We had Alistair Hunt on last week talking about the difficulties, the impossibilities of coming from New Zealand, jumping on that tour and trying to make a living for yourself, let alone get up anywhere close to getting in the main draw of these events. So this is to be celebrated, is it?
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
There's no reason not to.
No.
Yeah, I agree with everything.
All right. The summer of cricket, and again, just look. Sometimes you sit here on this side of the microphone, you just think, God, do I moan and whine about everything? No, I don't moan and whine about everything. I'm just not prepared to. I'm not prepared to buy the PRBS that goes with it. Oh, New Zealand cricket. I mean, this is a New Zealand cricket organisation that couldn't organise a warm-up match at the T20, that lets our players arrive late because they can't be asked turning up on time. Now we've got a summer of cricket. Look, the 3 tests against England, I absolutely celebrate. That's across November, December. 3 T20s and 3 ODIs with Sri Lanka over December, January. I mean, what, are half of our players going to be on holiday during that time or playing other leagues? Are they available for us? Who knows, right? I mean, that's where I can't get excited about that. We play Pakistan and South Africa in an ODI tri-series in Pakistan. But it always seems that we get Pakistan and Sri Lanka.
We always get Pakistan
every year, isn't it? I mean, it just seems like that.
We do have 3 tests against. It might be two or three against India in October.
Over there.
But that's over there. That's not in New Zealand. So in terms of Test cricket in New Zealand, unless I've totally missed something, all we've got is England in November, December, when people are still at work.
Yeah, but
people aren't actually on holiday.
What happened the last time we played England with that brilliant test at the Basin Reserve and everything?
Yeah, it'd be great.
They bring the Barmy Army. That's all good. I can celebrate that, but the rest leaves me a bit.
When's the last time we had India in New Zealand?
Well, we had them for. We have them
tests. For tests in New Zealand. When was the last time we had them for tests in New Zealand?
I don't know. Yeah. You had them. Didn't we have them for some T20s or one days?
And then can't complain about not playing Australia because we had them last summer, but they dick us every time. And then South Africa, whenever the last two times they've been here, they send CD teams.
That's exactly it.
But also, the one thing to note, and I'm not defending New Zealand cricket, they have no power. They have no power when it comes to the schedule.
Zero.
The power is with the ICC
take it up the chutney, mate.
/ the BCCI.
Yeah, they just take the check and take it up the chutney. If you're talking Origin, Andrew Johns, one of the greatest rugby league players ever and immortal, but also did for us New South Wales Blues fans what very few halfbacks have ever been able to do in Origin, and that is replicate his club international form on the Origin stage. Joey joined us in the Rugby League Hour with Kempi on Monday, and we thought, well, because it is the decider tonight, it is well worth revisiting some of what he said. Andrew, look, I just keep referencing that time on TV where you just said, you hate this BS and it's going to be another year of it. How much do you hate them?
Well, this time of year, I hate them a lot. It just drives me mad that they think that they have more passion. It means more to them. For me, that there's a couple of jerseys, obviously the blue jersey and also the Knights and the Australian jersey. But the blue jersey meant everything to me, everything.
Yeah, Joey. Like, if you're looking at the game too, and the way that I've never seen a New South Wales team play that well in the first half of an Origin game. Do you think that going up to Queensland, they're going to be given this sort of same space to create what they created in that second game?
Well, if you have a look at the stats, we hardly win a penalty count up there, which is normal because of the home ground bias and the crowd. And the referees are only human; they can get swayed by the pressure and the crowds. I look at our team and our power on our edges with our back rowers, but also our centres. I think defensively, Queensland are vulnerable there. And look, I think our bench has been far superior. Spencer Leniu and these guys. Also, Mitch Barnett, the Warriors, back row, front row coming in. I think that's really good. So I'm really confident going up there.
Andrew, when it comes to stats, do you care about this, that, New South Wales, the last time was 1994, but the reason that we have stats is because they do point out patterns, don't they? And it's such a difficult thing to do to actually come back from 1-0 down, let alone going there and win a decider.
Well, winning a series is sweet in Game 3 in a decider, but I got to do it in 2005. And it's right up there with winning premierships. It means that much to you. They got the chance, these players, to build their legacy during this time. In the big games, that's when players build their legacy. And this is what these players have at the moment. And I know they're excited by it. It's going to be so exciting to watch.
Joey, was there a difference in, people are talking about the bullying of players in that second game. Was there that much of a difference with New South Wales and Queensland in the way that they manhandled them?
Well, physically, they were a lot more physical. Look, we had greater share of possession. At one stage, I think we had 70% of possession. So, look, they were under a lot of fatigue, but they just could not handle our power game. And even in game one, when Joseph Suoliki got sent off, there was times in that game when we were just rolling through their ruck. Look, I think they're missing Big Tino. I think they're missing Flegler. And the other bloke is Tom Gilbert. He's the worker in their pack. I think they're missing him. So, big challenge for their middles. Their big boys have got to aim right up.
And talking about missing players, what about Nathan Cleary, mate? Would you be a lot more confident if he was in the side?
For sure. Absolutely, for sure. And it's the big challenge for Nathan is getting it done at Origin level, dominating the series. He knows that. That'll be part of his legacy. Look, Moses has done an absolute wonderful job. His kicking game is unbelievable. But I'll be really confident Nathan was there.
Yeah, it's the making of players, isn't it? A game like this, Joe, when you're looking at it and the pressure and that Lang Park factor, where you've got the statue of Wally Lewis out the front, and you've got all the Queenslanders sitting there. How much of that's going to play on Wednesday night into Queensland hand, if any?
Well, they'll lift for sure, and then also we have some younger players who haven't sort of played up there or experienced that. So that's going to be a challenge for them. But as I spoke before, they'll get the rub of the green, they'll get the 50-50 calls, and they'll lift. So it's up to us as New South Walesmen. When they lift, we're going to lift higher.
Man for man, two parts to this question. After what you saw in Game 2, and you've got to remember in Game 1, that New South Wales that we played with 12 men for after 7.5 minutes or something, is this New South Wales side better? And is this a great Queensland side? Would you call them a great side?
I wouldn't. I think they're missing the key players, the big boys in the middle especially. Big Tino, Flegler, they're big out. I think they're vulnerable out wide. I think, look, they had a champion team in that 8-year dominance, but out of that, there's probably 3 or 4 immortals played in that time, Thurston, Smith, Slater, Lockyer and that. They were a great team. I don't see this Queensland team as being an all-time great team. There's some really good players in there, but I think the New South Wales team is better balanced.
Final question on this. So when it comes down to it, that you're 50,000 and that, they're all inbred and corn-fed and twin-head and everything else, and you've got all that Queensland stuff going on, do you get affected by, when you played, did you hear any of that, or are you just so calm on the field and you're actually thinking about other things that you don't actually buy into all of that?
You hear them in breaks of play. You hear them when you run out. It's the only place I've ever experienced where you run out and it's a sonic boom. The atmosphere hits you in the face. It doesn't happen anywhere else, and it's because of the atmosphere that they're so close to you. But during the game, breaks of play, try scored, pack and scrums, you can hear them screaming. But, once the run of play, you're that focused in on it.
Did anyone ever say anything nice to you? Like when you say you go up there, have you bumped into a whole lot of Queensland? Is there at least 1 or 2 of them that go, Andrew Johns, wow, let me get a picture with you, or are they all giving it to you?
No, they all give it to me. There's no niceness.
Mark Watson, the ATM podcast, episode 92 today, people. One of the most forthright, always honest, opinionated sports commentators in this country. That's why we have him on. Normally on a Tuesday, but he's been in China, flew back in last night to join us today. And a couple of topics to talk about, including the All Blacks, including this ACC thing with Stuff having a go at them because of aspects of the commentary, which the Stuff reporter who wrote this particular opinion piece determined to be unsavoury. It's all behind a paywall. You don't have to go there if you don't want to. Plus, what I'm celebrating, a couple of women doing some fantastic things in international sport, which aren't seem to be getting that much coverage at the moment. There's an article and Stuff yesterday, and it was just so predictable. It was written by Zoe George, which you already know what it's going to be about then. And this was attacking the ACC for some comments made about the England physio and the work she was doing on one of their players, and whether it looked like some kind of simulated sex act or whatever it was. And they put it out on social media. Look, I just get so tired of this kind of stuff. It's designed for clickbait. The reason it's written and the reason that stuff do it is for clickbait. But I'm not a great fan of the ACC. I admire what they do and the audience that they get, and it's for that audience. It's just not for me. I find it all a little bit kind of childish, and I look at, and I don't want to be critical, but I respect the fact that they're there, that they attract who they attract. And Mark, it's got a PIN number on it. And it's got an adults-only thing on it. And so, therefore, if you don't like it, don't go to it, don't watch it, and don't bloody complain about it.
Yeah, look, completely agree. Look, I'm like you. I'm not a big fan of the ACC. I think there are some guys who are legitimately funny. Like I think James McConey has a natural sense.
No question.
He has a natural sense of humour, and he's a guy that is just, he is.
He's
sharp.
been around a long time.
I find a lot of it just forced and contrived. And I think any time that you're trying to force comedy, it doesn't work. Look, if you take a highlights reel of what they've done and take the best clips, yes, it is funny. Can you maintain that for 80 minutes with the talent they've got? Probably not. I find it quite cringeworthy. But as you said, it does have an audience. It does have a niche. Now, you understand what they are, who they are. You have to enter a PIN code. It's R18 plus. If they want to then have some sexual innuendo as part of their comedy regarding the female physio, it is what it is. But for them, people to come out and try and cancel them and complain is absolutely and utterly ridiculous.
And I will defend them to the hilt on the fact that what they do is what they do. And if you don't like it, don't look at it.
Yeah, look, I remember that left-wing communist socialist outfit, the spin-off, having a crack at myself and a colleague on a show we did on a Monday. And look, in hindsight, it wasn't great broadcasting from us, but the show was called Controversy Corner. It was 9 o'clock on a Monday, and yes, it was controversial. Did they take some of the comments out of context? Absolutely. But they basically cancelled us. I mean, it had a huge impact on my career. In hindsight, it wasn't the smartest stuff to do, but you also understand who your audience is, who you're broadcasting to. We're broadcasting late at night to predominantly a male audience who are hardcore rugby and rugby league fans. And it was sort of maybe said in jest. And this is a similar situation. And I just get sick and tired of the cancel culture that still goes on. There was an article the other day, I think it was in the New Zealand Herald, and I'm certainly not having a crack at the Herald, saying what's ever happened to the great commercials? Is everybody afraid to take a risk now?
Yeah, they are.
Of course
That's
they are.
People like them have the reason that nobody does take a risk.
Yeah, but the very people that are writing that article are the same people that are going to absolutely rip you to pieces for doing the damn thing if you do it. Mm-hmm. So it's like, come on. Of course, everyone's terrified these days, Martin. But I just want to say that again. Look, I was really pleased on the weekend Justin was back as the expert comments guy. He is the best analyst in the game by a mile. No disrespect to Mills Moilina. Justin just sees it better. I think he's just a better broadcaster, whether he works with Nisbo or whether he works with Tony. What still disappointed me is you turn into Sky, and then we've got 2 males and 2 women, and they're doing the analysis. And I'm sorry, I don't want to keep going on this. When you say, hey, drop a player, well, who are you going to bring in? So we have the argument. Let's drop Kieran Reid. Well, who do you bring in at number 8? And you go, well, okay, that's a really good point. Well, I can tell you, there are 400 former bloody All Blacks that should be in there ahead of the Taylor Johnsons. I want to hear from the Ian Jones telling me what they need to do to sort the line out from the week before. I want genuine experts in there. I want players who have played for the All Blacks at the highest level. I am still just sick and damn tired of this gender politics constantly thrown on us from Sky Television and Sophie Maloney because of this feminist agenda that runs through that damn organisation. I switch on, I just switch straight off. Now, this is an organisation that is struggling for revenue. Everybody's struggling for advertising revenue. Just put your damn best people in there, man.
Totally agree, mate.
Apologise to me!
I do just want to recognise a couple of women athletes who have done incredibly well. Niamh Fisher-Black last week winning a stage in the women's Giro d'Italia in Europe and the women's cycling, which is just a remarkable achievement for her. Unbelievable performance. Her brother Finn Fisher-Black rides for UAE, which is a team of Tadej Pogacar, who's leading the Tour de France. Maya Ramsden ran another 4:04 for 1,500 metres, so she's running faster consistently now than Nikki Hamlin. She's just made the Olympic team for the women's 1,500 metres. 2 remarkable female athletes who have got out there, done it themselves, trained incredibly hard and starting to get some great international results. Very little media coverage given to them from the same media who continue, the same media out there who continue to preach equity, who continue to preach about, making sure that we've got equity of outcome and equity of opportunity, but still will virtue signal in those areas. But if they don't believe it to be maybe commercially right, they won't report it because it's not rugby and it's not cricket.
To hear the full interview, download the platform at the App Store. Via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to the whole show and all of the interviews in full. That's our podcast for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to listen to the entire show, 1 till 4, Monday to Friday, download the Platform app, and via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to whatever shows over however many weeks at your leisure, at your listening pleasure. Platform Plus. First thing to do, though, is download the Platform app.
Devlin.
Unbelievable. Incredible.
The Platform.